What's up, everybody? You are listening to the Work the Crowd podcast. I am one of your hosts, Douglas Hardin, and the other guy who looks like a wannabe Tiger Woods is Jacob Klucas.
Wannabe. Tiger wishes he could be me. No, I'm just playing.
Wow. Well, not. You don't want to be Tiger Woods right now. He tore his Achilles.
Yeah, no. Don't want to be Tiger right now. Tearing his Achilles. God, dude.
We
may never see Tiger play golf again.
I know. That sucks. But we always got you. Just keep wearing the red polo.
I mean, yeah. Who needs anything else? Who needs Scotty? Who needs Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele? We got
Jacob Klucas. He's got that covered.
100%.
All right, guys. So maybe a little bit of talking about LeBron and Stephen A. Smith. We're going to cover a little bit about the NFL free agency. See, I'm guessing you have some top moves you want to go over.
Yeah, just getting our thoughts on the early goings.
Yep, and then college basketball, March is in full effect. So college basketball, the conferences, I'm assuming we're just going to go over the
majors.
Yeah, the major conferences.
Yep.
We're going to give our predictions of who we think is going to win them. And then, last but not least, we're going to go over our top 5 favorite golf course foods. So let's get into it.
All right. I guess we'll, like we did last week, we'll kick it off with LeBron. So if, again, you don't know, now this week, the topic of conversation with LeBron came to be, he got into, I don't really want to call it an altercation, kind of an altercation. He came face to face, let's just say, with, he pressed up on Stephen A. Smith at a Lakers game last week during the Lakers, was that Clippers? I think it was.
Was that Clippers? I don't know.
Either way. During one of the Laker games last week, Stephen A. Smith was courtside. LeBron went up to him, and you could see him kind of angrily, I don't want to say yelling, but talking at Stephen A. Smith. He went on to address it the next day, basically said that LeBron had approached him about comments that Stephen A. Smith had made about Bronny on First Take. And basically, he went up there and did the Will Smith, but the father's version of it, and keep my son's name out your fucking mouth.
Pretty much.
So here's the thing. And Stephen A. Smith kind of said the same thing on First Take. That wasn't LeBron, the basketball player, approaching him. Obviously, it's LeBron, the father. So from a fatherly standpoint, I can't knock LeBron for sticking up for his kid, obviously. But the flip side, this kind of is the same logic as work life is your work life, home life is your home life. This is your job. You're at work. So, you're going to get, you get what comes with it. And unfortunately, the talk shows and the criticisms and everything comes with the job that they do. So and also what Stephen A. Smith had said, let's also put some context around this, is all Stephen A. Smith's original comments about Bronny it wasn't even him trashing Bronny, saying that he's horrible, he's bad, anything like that. All Stephen A. Smith had said was, he said, because of who LeBron is, Bronny's pedestal is put at a much higher level. And it just comes with the nature of it. When you're the son of one of, if not the GOAT of the greatest of all time, you're going to get put on a pedestal. And everybody likes to talk about it. And, everybody likes to, if you don't meet that requirement, especially right away, they're going to continue to talk. And all Stephen A. Smith said was that it's not fair to Bronny that he's put on that level because of who his dad is, and that if he wanted essentially a prolonged NBA career, he's going to need to spend some time in the G League. Was pretty much what Stephen A. Smith said. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
And there's nothing wrong with that from multiple standpoints. One, and this has to go more so with the Bronny haters, like the people that like to trash Bronny just because of he's LeBron's son. Let's please not forget that literally a year and a half ago, the kid went into cardiac arrest on the court. So that, even a year and a half removed from that, that's not easy to come back from, okay? So that's number one. Number two, again, just because he's LeBron's kid doesn't mean he's going to be LeBron, all right? He's his own person. And third, let's please remember, he's a second-round draft pick. What was it, 55 or 56 overall?
Yeah, something like that.
Like, when have we ever talked about a second-round 50th overall draft pick like this? I mean, you would think with the way that people talk about Bronny, he was drafted in the top 10. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I'm a Kentucky guy. I'm a Kentucky guy here. And so it takes a lot for me to even say this. Like, we're trashing Bronny for how he's playing or how he looks. Meanwhile, Reed Shepherd's the 3rd overall pick, averaging 3 points per game and barely getting in the game. But we're not talking about Reed Shepherd. Like, let's chill out. And meanwhile, while Bronny has been in the G League, he's averaging 22, 5, and 5 in the G League. So the boy's hooping even in the G League. So it, in some way, shape, or form, he is showing you that he belongs where he's at. It's just a matter of you gotta stop talking about him like he's gonna be LeBron. He's not. It's not gonna happen. 2, let's set some realistic expectations for him. Like, let's understand a second round 50th in the 50s draft pick. He's going to be a role player. He's not going to come in and be, there's very, very, very few players that come in that late in the draft and become, stars or even all-stars. So let's stop putting him on that pedestal and realize that at best, more than likely. Now, I hope for the absolute best for him. I hope he does, peak to be an all-star and, all this and that. But let's be real. At best, he's more than likely going to be a role player, and there's nothing wrong with that. Role players have a very long NBA career. So let's please, just because he's LeBron's son doesn't mean he's going to be LeBron. That's all I'm saying. So, Doug, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think LeBron's being a big baby about it, from my honest opinion. I mean, I think I understand the father aspect of it, right? Like you said, but to go after Stephen A. like that, when you see the video, LeBron was angry. Like he was like he was ready to fight him. That's what it looked like. And I mean, you can't do that to somebody who's to critique sports. That is Stephen A's job. I mean, LeBron's doing his job. He just watched you do it. You just played ball. Okay? His job is to critique players in different sports. Okay?
Critique what he sees.
Right. And again, I don't know if LeBron just took maybe what he said out of context, but what Stephen A. Smith said just wasn't that bad.
Again, I could see if Stephen A. Smith was up there, like I've seen a lot of people just like, he's horrible, he doesn't belong in the league, he shouldn't be here, going on and on. I could see a point where LeBron goes, yo, keep my son's name out of your mouth.
Yeah, but even then, why is LeBron entertaining it? I don't understand that.
Still, again, it goes back to this is work, this is personal. You got to remember that this is work.
Well, he has to understand that Bronny's going to be critiqued more because of who he is. LeBron has to understand that. LeBron can't get upset anytime someone says something bad about his kid. I mean, you just can't. If you want your family in the league and you want your family playing on the same team as you,
especially when you
have to deal
already yourself is one of the most overly scrutinized players in the NBA history, it's going to come with it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they hold him to a higher standard because he got a contract that not really many second round.
Nobody at that where they're drafted at gets.
Second round draft pick don't get a 4-year, $8 million
something like that
deal or something like that. He's making $2 million a year as a second round pick.
Yeah,
I mean,
so yeah, I get that.
So okay, that aspect, yes, but LeBron has to. Who cares, dude? Just let it go. Just let it go. LeBron is going to be who he wants to be. And he looks like he takes the game serious, and he's improving. And I think Bronny's gonna be fine.
I think eventually
he's just gonna need time.
A good role player. And again, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know. Just some kind of questionable things in the, I guess you want to say, personal choices, personal life of LeBron here in the last couple of weeks. But so yeah. All right. Moving on to the NFL free agency so far. Just kind of rolling, or before I dive into some of them, Doug, let's start with, what are some moves that you've seen that you like so far?
I really like what the Vikings have been doing. I think they're really setting themselves up to be a real contender. And then it hasn't happened yet, but when Aaron Rodgers goes to be the quarterback there, because that's going to happen.
It's between Minnesota and Pittsburgh, really, for Rodgers. And
I think, if he wants to win, Minnesota's his best bet. I think them getting Ryan Kelly was actually a pretty good move by them. And I'm a Colts fan. Obviously, that sucks, but he's a veteran center. Whoever's playing quarterback is going to love him. That's probably a piece they were needing. I think that's the biggest piece of that. Colts, they're really trying to fix their defense.
Hey, man, never in my life did I think I'd see the Colts making moves on day one of free agency.
Spending money.
Yeah.
Which is wild. Ballard's fighting for his life over there. Yeah. I think Minnesota is probably my biggest one. Just overall as a team, they're doing well, and they're setting themselves up for success.
Yeah. So I look at a team like the Bears, who made a couple moves via trades before free agency hit, getting Joe Tooney from the Chiefs, getting Jonah Jackson, solidifying their guard positions on the offensive line. And then once free agency hit yesterday, signing the best center on the market, Drew Dahlman. They added 2 edge players. They signed Dio Adengbo, I think that's how you pronounce his name, from the Colts. Yeah, Dio Adengbo. They signed another edge player. Sorry, no, not an edge player. Grady Jarrett. The Falcons let go of Grady Jarrett. They got Grady Jarrett. So really solidifying their offensive line before draft and everything, which was a big need. And then getting 2 big pieces in the run game on the defensive line. I think they're setting up. I've mocked it a couple times already. I think they're honestly setting up to draft Ashton Genty. I think you look at what Ben Johnson had with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. I think he knows having a potential 2-headed backfield of having a DeAndre Swift already at your leisure and drafting Ashton Genty. You can kind of use Swift as your Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously not as good, but you can use Swift as your Jahmyr Gibbs and your Genty as your David Montgomery and have a 2-headed, backfield and not have to put as many miles on Ashton Genty so early as well. And then as well as helping develop your young developing quarterback. Bears made a lot of move. Patriots made a lot of move. They had the most money to spend in free agency, and they've gone out and spend it on everything but a wide receiver. But they've added to the offensive line. They signed arguably who could have been the best free agent prospect in Milton Williams from the Eagles, giving him a $104 million contract over 4 years. So Patriots definitely got better. Rams, as questionable as Devontae Adams was, because it's like, okay, you're going to eventually cut Cooper Kupp, which you would assume would be to save money, but you just gave it right back to Devontae Adams. I don't know. Still a good move. You were able to retain Matthew Stafford and get him back. They added on the defensive line. Now you have Stafford, Kyron Williams, Puka, hopefully healthy this full year with Devontae Adams. The Rams are honestly poised to make a potential Super Bowl run next year. But yeah, and then just kind of breaking down the individuals. So from the quarterback room of free agency, Sam Darnold signed a 3-year deal with the Seattle Seahawks, which I kind of saw either Darnold picking Seattle or Pittsburgh for the most part. I don't like Seattle because a couple things. One, if you're Seattle and you were just getting rid of Geno, essentially, I would have just went and tried to draft a quarterback and develop something, especially since your offensive line last year with Geno was bad and you've done nothing to upgrade it so far. And you already cut Tyler Lockett. You just traded DK Metcalf. So now I'm bringing in Sam Darnold to a bad offensive line, only Jackson Smith-Njigba in the receiver room. Where does this sound familiar? It sounds like he's playing with the Jets all over again. So I also think we see Sam Darnold come down to earth without having Kevin O'Connell next to him. Justin Fields signed with the Jets. Love that. I love Justin Fields with the Jets. I think he helps turn them around a little bit. He gets to pair back up with Garrett Wilson for that Ohio State connection, along with Breece Hall. Still waiting on Aaron Rodgers to sign. Obviously, we just talked about that. I think Pittsburgh, Minnesota, if he wants to win, he should go to Minnesota. He already knows the division. He can win that division. He knows that. So yeah, and then woo! Daniel Jones to the Colts. Woo!
He wants more money. He was a starting quarterback for his whole career pretty much, and then so he's got something to prove. If he's gonna be in a spot where he can compete for that starting job.
Yeah. And look, I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt if he does end up starting over Richardson, which I don't think he should right away. I think it should be this is Richardson's team until he proves otherwise. If he doesn't work out, then you put Daniel Jones in. But if they do roll with Daniel Jones, and I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt, he did just go to the playoffs a couple years with the Giants. He's going to have a better offensive line than he's had. He's got Jonathan Taylor, who's not Saquon Barkley, obviously, but still a very good running back. Probably his best receiving room he's ever had to throw to. Maybe there could be something there. Just trying to be a little bit hopeful. Then the running back room, Aaron Jones re-signed with the Vikings. Najee Harris is going to the Chargers. Javonte Williams is going to the Dallas Cowboys. Receiving-wise, Chris Godwin going back to Tampa. Devontae Adams, obviously, with the Rams. This is the one that didn't make sense. The Giants gave Darius Slayton 3 years, $36 million. They give Darius Slayton 3 years, $36 million, but couldn't re-sign Saquon Barkley last offseason?
Yeah, I saw that. I think that dude, whoever that GM was, knew he just messed up big time, and he's not going to make that mistake again, probably.
For Doug's Louisville fandom, Tutu Atwell re-signed with the Rams. So he'll probably be their third option next to Puka and Devontae Adams. That's pretty much it from the receiving room. Really no big name. Ronnie Stanley, big name, big for the Ravens. They were able to re-sign him. So they brought Ronnie Stanley back. Still waiting on Cam Robinson, Tyron Smith to get signed. We talked about Drew Dahlman and Ryan Kelly. Khalil Mack going back to the Chargers. We are still waiting to see where Joey Bosa will end up, who got cut by the Chargers. Kind of shocking. I do think I think he's going to end up in San Francisco, and we're going to get to see a Bosa brothers pass rushing in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know, because the 49ers have also been making a lot of cuts. And if you saw Micah Parsons' tweet earlier, he said, it's all fun and games when your quarterback's on a rookie contract. Now they're having to make cuts because they're going to have to pay Brock Purdy, which further goes into, so real quick, sidetrack from the free agency real quick, further goes into what I'd said earlier I think it was like the second or third show we did. Listen, Shedeur Sanders' stock is dropping a little. If I'm the 49ers and I am not 100% sure that I want to pay Brock Purdy, I am looking for a team that would take a flyer on Brock Purdy and think about taking Shedeur Sanders. I don't have to pay him for another 3 to 4 years. I get a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract. I can stop making all these cuts that I already have to make. I'm just saying, I think it's a good idea if you're me. If you're asking me, at least.
If you're running an NFL team?
Yeah. If I got to run an NFL team. Sounds like a good idea to me. And then, we talked about Milton Williams, Dre Greenlaw going to the Denver Broncos, DJ Reed going to the Detroit Lions. That was a very, very good move for the Detroit Lions. Travarius Ward, we talked about going to the Colts. Cameron Bynum. That's another team, the Giants. They've, outside of just don't have a quarterback right now, which you assume they're probably going to draft, they made a lot of moves, especially in the secondary, to be able to get Javon Holland. They were also able to sign Paulson Adebo from the Saints. They made some moves. Giants are coming. A lot of teams in the NFC East made moves besides the Dallas Cowboys. So, but for them, it's just going to come down to what they can do with that quarterback position. So really, that's really it for the big names. Still waiting on, like we said, Aaron Rodgers, see where Russell Wilson ends up. But yeah, that's really, Nick Chubb, if you still consider that a big name, he still hasn't signed anywhere. So a lot of names still out there. Stephon Diggs, really, that's kind of it for the big names. So a lot of NFL free agency moves. Eagles losing a lot coming off this Super Bowl. So how do they regroup? Not saying that they don't, obviously. Losing Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, losing Milton Williams, losing Josh Sweat. Are they able to recover from this? This is going to be the biggest question. So, anything else from free agency you got, Doug?
No, I think you literally covered it all.
Yeah, sorry. All right. So let's break down. Let's me open this back up. Share screen.
We're going to break down the. Yeah, I was like, we're going to break down the conference championships.
Yep. There we go. All right. So we'll start off with, let me make sure this is going to flip. Okay. All right. Let's start off here with the ACC. Also, for the listeners, next Tuesday, we'll be able to, because Selection Sunday, obviously this upcoming Sunday, we'll be doing our full NCAA tournament predictions. We'll be doing it just similar like this, except obviously we'll be able to fill out the bracket as we go.
Maybe a special edition Sunday.
Yeah, maybe a special edition. Maybe trying to set up a live for the Selection Sunday. So please be tuned for that. We'll set out reminders for that as well. But trying to do a live reaction from each tournament where everybody goes, where everybody's ranked. So, all right, starting off in the ACC, we'll start off with this first round. They start tonight, actually. Some of these have actually already been played.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Sorry,
playing golf today, I didn't really. So, of these, Notre Dame already won. So, there's that one.
Yeah, I would have.
Virginia Tech and Cal are currently in overtime right now.
Yeah, that would have been a toss-up. I would have picked up Virginia Tech.
I probably would have picked Virginia Tech. Also, just for full disclosure, just so I probably would have picked Pittsburgh over Notre Dame.
Yeah, I would have picked Notre Dame. They had a little. I watched the ACC pretty much all year just because I'm a Louisville fan. So Notre Dame had way more fight than Pittsburgh did.
Yeah. So, all right. So then the game later tonight, Syracuse, Florida State. Me personally, I would probably go with. I know Syracuse hasn't been that good this year, but I'd probably go Syracuse. This one's kind of a toss-up because I feel like Florida State's one of those teams, no matter how they finish, whether they've been bad, whether they've been good, they usually don't do well in tournaments.
And it's The hell's his
I know
name?
this is Leonard Hamilton's last year,
right?
so I mean maybe they go out on a bang for him.
Well, so here's my thing with Florida State is that I think they really could beat any team because they're of their length. They're a long team. Their guards I think are like 6'5", 6'6", something like that. They play a pretty big lineup, which can cause problems for some teams. And I think Florida State wins this game
Yeah,
tonight.
I wanted to lean Syracuse, but I may end up leaning Florida State just because of Leonard Hamilton's last year. They may try to
Yeah, I mean, I think
make
he's
some
going to coach
noise
his
for
ass
him.
off.
So that would leave going on to tomorrow's game, starting off Georgia Tech, Virginia. A winner moving on to play Duke. I would probably pick Georgia Tech in this game.
I would as well.
So,
Virginia is also one of those teams that never does well in the tournament.
Yeah. So Georgia Tech would move on to play Duke. All right. So Notre Dame, who we already said already won, they're moving on to play North Carolina tomorrow. I would probably pick North Carolina in this one.
I'll be honest. I think this game's a lot closer than you think.
I'm not downing that. I mean, it's March. Anything
Well, you know, North Carolina.
The only reason I would say North Carolina is because outside of the Duke game this past Saturday, North Carolina the last couple of games has been
They've played
on
well.
a roll. They've kind of found their stride here late in the season.
Yeah, I mean, I would still pick North Carolina. I'm just saying. I think the game's going to be closer.
I think so too. But I think at the end of the day, just because it's one North Carolina, two RJ Davis has been here, done that.
Oh yeah.
So I think North Carolina moves on. Stanford and I think we said we would pick Virginia Tech. They're tied at 65 in overtime right now as we speak with Cal. So we'll just go off the pick right now as Virginia Tech. I would still pick Stanford in this game to win.
Yeah, I agree. Stanford's got some good players.
Yeah,
I can't pronounce it. Yeah, when he played against Louisville, he didn't shoot well. He shot like 4 air balls.
Louisville also plays good defense.
They do, but still.
Nope.
What's their big guy's name to do that was all ACC? Renew.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I knew it started with an.
Yeah, I couldn't. I have a hard time pronouncing it for some reason. I'm pretty sure it's Renew. He's a stud, really. That dude's actually really good.
Yeah, and he's on some NBA draft boards.
Yeah, he should be. Yeah. So I'm gonna pick Stanford here.
Yep. So they move on to play Louisville on Thursday. So Florida State was the pick taking on SMU. I would kind of still ride with this and still say Florida State. Moving on. I know it was questionable with them against Syracuse, but again, trying to go out with a bang for your head coach. They are long, athletic. I would probably ride with Florida State here.
Yeah, I'm picking SMU.
Okay. So that sets up Duke, and we pick Georgia Tech. I think this is pretty much a runaway. We're going to pick Duke.
Yeah.
Wake Forest, North Carolina. I know Wake Forest is good. You know, I have actually watched Wake Forest a couple times. I may still pick Carolina.
I think RJ Davis makes a difference in this game.
Yep. And I mean, who doesn't want to watch another Duke Carolina in the semifinals?
And Duke's going to beat him again by another 20.
Yes. So I'd pick Carolina, and you're picking Carolina as well.
Yeah, I'll pick Carolina in this one.
All right, and then Louisville and Stanford. I would pick Louisville. Obviously, we just watched this. What was it? Just last weekend?
Last
weekend, but last week. Oh,
you know that scares me a little bit when you play a team that quick. It's tough. But I think with the way Louisville plays defense, I think should handle them no problem.
And then for me, Clemson, Florida State. You, Clemson, SMU. I would take Clemson either way.
Clemson's really good. So
Duke, Carolina. We already mentioned this before. Duke moving on to the ACC.
Even if Wake Forest wins, it's still Duke.
Yeah. Clemson, Louisville.
It's gonna be a good game.
It's going to be a very good game. And again, this is really no shade to you all at all. I would probably pick Clemson. I've watched Clemson a lot this year. Obviously, they played both of our teams this year. But I've watched Clemson play Duke very well. Even they beat Duke actually this year.
They beat Duke. Yeah.
So I would roll with Clemson.
Yeah. So I think this game is going to be like down to the wire. We already played Clemson once this year. We won by, I think, 12, something like that. Javon Hadley had like 32 in that game. It always seems there's one player Louisville has that just goes off. And I think this continues. I think Louisville wins this. The only thing that bothers me is I feel like we don't play good during late games, and 9:30 is really late. So I think we'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna pick Louisville on this one.
Okay. Well, either way, I'm sorry, Doug. Even if I picked Louisville or Clemson, Duke's winning the ACC championship.
Yeah.
Duke's going to win the ACC championship and secure their spot as the number one probably overall seed in the tournament.
Yeah, Duke's really good. They have pieces everywhere. They're a complete basketball team.
Yeah.
So I would pick Duke over Louisville, even if even if Clemson makes it, I would still pick Duke.
Yep. So all right, so that would be the ACC. Both of us having Duke winning the ACC tournament. So let's move on. The Big Ten tournament. Obviously, quite a few more teams here, as you can see. But
yeah, because only the top 15 go in the ACC.
I don't know why this is already. This was 2024. That's why. Slightly stupid. Big Ten tournament bracket. Let me make sure we get this one. Hello? Is it not going to let me save this? There we go. All right. There we go. All right. So here we go. 25 men's tournament. Here we go. So Northwestern, Minnesota, kicking off Wednesday's Big Ten tournament. I would go Minnesota with this one. Pick Minnesota over Northwestern to move on. They would get to move on to play Wisconsin. So I would go Minnesota over Northwestern in the first round.
I would. Yeah, I'm thinking. I think I'm gonna go Minnesota as well.
Okay. All right. Ohio State.
I don't know a lot about the Big Ten. I'll be honest. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, with me having Ohio State in the Big Ten, I know a little bit about the Big Ten. But Ohio State, Iowa in this one, I would pick the Buckeyes to move on to get to play Illinois. To beat Iowa. USC, Rutgers. I think this game potentially could be a very good one. It is Eric Musselman in March, who seems to coach his ass off in March. But I think the talent portion of having Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey with Rutgers gets them over the edge in this one. So I would go Rutgers to move on to play Purdue. Oregon, Indiana on Thursday. I'm sorry, IU fans. I'm picking Oregon to move on in this one.
I mean, I just don't think Indiana has it.
I think mentally they're done.
They're checked out. Yeah.
Yeah. They're ready. They're ready for a new head coach. They're done. They're ready to move on.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a toss up for me. I'm gonna have to go Oregon.
All right. Next would be I think you picked Minnesota as well. So Minnesota, Wisconsin. I would pick the Badgers to move on to match up with UCLA in the next round. Illinois, Ohio State. I am sorry, Buckeyes. Love you, but Illinois moves on. Illinois is actually, for a 7 seed in the Big Ten, Illinois is a really good basketball team.
Yeah. They were ranked for a while.
Yeah. Purdue, Rutgers, next round for me to move on to get to play Michigan. I'm going with Purdue. I'm going with Braden Smith. So Purdue moves on.
Yep.
Friday matchups, Michigan State, Oregon. I do think there is a cause of concern for Michigan State a little bit. I know they're number one in the Big Ten. I get it. I do think there is a potential upset there. I'm going to pick Michigan State, but would not be surprised if Oregon were to knock off Michigan State right there.
I think Michigan State's a really good basketball team this year, and you can't count out Tom Izzo.
UCLA, Wisconsin in the next round. I would go with UCLA. Really good defense. I think they're able to contain Wisconsin, and I think UCLA moves on. Really, really good matchup here. Illinois and Maryland. Really, potentially could be the best game in the Big Ten tournament. I'm going to go with Maryland. Maryland's a very good basketball team. I'm picking Maryland. Don't be shocked if you see Maryland go very far, not only in this, but in the NCAA tournament as well.
Yeah, I'd also pick Maryland here.
Purdue, Michigan, next round. I'm going upset. I'm taking Purdue over Michigan. This is, again, team that's been there, done that. They know how to survive in advance. I don't know if Michigan's ready for this. I mean, granted, it's 3 seed in the Big Ten, ready for this spotlight yet. I think Purdue, again, been there, done that. They have Braden Smith. They have the best player in the game. So I would pick Purdue to move on in this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Michigan. I guess I understand Braden Smith's pretty good, but I think Michigan has some really good pieces too. I have watched them some. I think I'd pick Michigan here.
Okay. So Saturday matchups, you'd have Michigan State, UCLA. I would pick Michigan State over UCLA to move on to the Big Ten championship game. Maryland and Purdue for me, Maryland, Michigan for you. Either way, I would take Maryland against either team to move on.
I'm going.
You're taking Michigan to move on to the Big Ten championship?
Yep.
All right, so then for you, Michigan State, Michigan, who's your pick?
Michigan State.
Okay, so Doug's prediction, Michigan State to win the Big Ten. Mine would be Maryland, Michigan State, Big Ten championship, and I'm picking Maryland to win the Big Ten.
Nice. Hey, Maryland's good.
Maryland is a very, very, very good basketball team. Very high on Derek Queen.
Yeah.
This Maryland team. So, let's see. Big 12.
Big 12.
So here we go. I know it's a little bit hard to see.
Yeah, good Lord. We're getting old.
But first round matchups today. So that started it at 11. So let's make sure we're all caught up. So Cincinnati blew out Oklahoma State. So there was that one. I would have picked Cincinnati over Oklahoma State anyway.
Yeah.
Colorado TCU is that next one. Colorado won by 2. I would have picked TCU. So that would have
TCU as well.
So right now, currently, Arizona State, Kansas State is playing right now. I would pick Kansas State in this one to move on against Arizona State.
Yeah,
it literally just tipped off. There's 18:52 left, and it's 3-0. So
yeah, I would probably pick Kansas State as well.
So picking Kansas State both ways, and then Utah and Central Florida here. I would go with an upset here. I'm going Central Florida over Utah. I know Utah has size. I did watch Utah play Kansas earlier this year in one of their late games. Granted, Kansas isn't the greatest basketball team, but I did watch them play. But something about this Central Florida team, I could see an upset happening to beat Utah.
Yeah, I'm going the opposite. I'm going Utah based on the size. I think they control the boards.
Oh, here you go. Little free agency breaking news real quick from Adam Schefter. DeAndre Hopkins, 1 year, $5 million to the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
So
that's a pretty good pickup. Well, another safety net for.
Yeah. Not quite Tyreek Hill, who you wanted, but
you never know.
It's somebody. All right. Iowa State, Cincinnati will be the matchup tomorrow. I'm going Iowa State.
Yeah.
To win that one. Iowa State, another really good basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
West Virginia, and it'll be Colorado tomorrow. I would pick West Virginia to win this one.
Yeah, I would pick West Virginia. I tell you what, I give them credit. They've had a lot of injuries, and they've still played really, really well.
Yeah, and you watched West Virginia earlier this year because you all played them in that tournament earlier in the year.
Yeah, and I think they lost more pieces after that.
Yeah, so
props to, and that's a first year head coach too, isn't it? I don't remember his name, but
so next round we would have. I think did you pick Kansas State in that one too?
Yes, I did pick.
So both Kansas State versus Baylor next round. This Baylor team is kind of up and down. Kind of want to pick Kansas State. I'm probably just gonna pick Baylor on the safe side, but this Baylor team is just so flip flop. Like they either play really good or they just don't. So. But I'd probably just go Baylor in this one. And then for you, Kansas, Utah. For me, Kansas, Central Florida. I think either way, I would pick Kansas to advance in this one.
Yeah, agreed. Yep.
So moving on, Iowa State, BYU. In the Thursday matchup, I'm taking Iowa State to beat BYU.
I would also take Iowa State. I like them.
Yeah, they're really good. West Virginia and Houston next round. I'm sorry, West Virginia. It's just too much. Houston moves on.
Houston's good. Yeah, so I'm also going Houston.
Texas Tech, Baylor. I would take the Red Raiders to move on. And then Arizona, Kansas next round. I would, again, we're talking about Kansas, not a very good basketball team. Arizona's kind of, again, up and down. I would probably take Arizona just because Kansas has been very fraudulent this year. Also, Kansas just played, going back to what we've talked about, Kansas just played Arizona at Kansas on Saturday. It's going to be hard to beat them again.
Yeah. This one's kind of a toss-up for me. In these types of tournaments like this, I feel like you have to sometimes go on with coaching too. I
Yep.
mean, that matters in games, especially when a game like this is probably going to be close. And I'm taking Bill Self every time. So I'm
Okay.
going to take Kansas in this one.
Iowa State, Houston. This will be a fantastic game.
Yes.
I will take Houston to advance to the Big 12 championship, though.
Yeah. Agreed.
Texas Tech for me, Arizona, you, Kansas. Either way, I would take Texas Tech
Yeah.
to
both
win
of
that
them,
game.
man.
And then
Good
Texas
coaching.
Tech, Houston, Big 12 championship game. Doug, who are you taking?
I'm going to take Houston.
All right. I'm taking Texas Tech. This is another team that I think has the potential to make a deep tournament run. And I think it starts now with the Big 12 tournament for Texas Tech to show something. So I would take Texas Tech as the 3 seed in the Big 12 to move on. Or sorry, 2 seed. Sorry, missed a seed. So let's do Big East because why not? Big East used to be that conference, and Ricky P's in the Big East. So all right.
Yep.
Butler Providence. This conference tournament starts tomorrow. So sorry. Butler Providence. I'm gonna take Butler. Both these schools have kind of just fallen off here recently. Providence, I think, is ready for a complete reset. So I'm just going to take Butler to kind of set that reset now.
Yeah. I mean, this game's really a toss up. So I mean, I'd probably just pick Butler.
DePaul, Georgetown. I'd probably just rock with Georgetown to win this one and move on. Sorry, I outside of St. John's, UConn, outside of really the top 4 in this conference, top 5, sorry, including Marquette, I haven't really seen much of these guys. So
yeah, I'd probably just roll with Georgetown as well.
And then Villanova, Seton Hall, I'd rock with Villanova to move on. So then Butler, St. John's, I'm rocking with Ricky P. St. John's moves on. Marquette, Xavier in this one. This will be a very good game.
Oh yeah.
And I'd pick Marquette just because I think they would have the best player in this game with Cam Jones, we always talk about every year, what player can not necessarily do what Kemba Walker did, but who can go on a Kemba Walker run and carry their team essentially for, multiple stretches of games. And Cam Jones is one of those players that can do that. So I'm going to rock with Marquette to move on. In this one, Creighton and Georgetown, I'm rolling with Creighton to win. Yeah, over Georgetown, I'd roll with Creighton.
Yeah, same.
Okay. UConn, Villanova.
I'll pick Marquette in the last one.
Okay. UConn, Villanova. I'm picking UConn. No matter how up and down UConn's been, based off track record, I have to trust Dan Hurley in any kind of tournament right now. So same. Moving on with UConn, Creighton, the semifinals. I pick UConn just because, again, coaching matters, and UConn's been here the last 2 years to do this. So I'd pick UConn to move on to the Big East Championship. Marquette, St. John's. This will be, once again, just like it was this past Saturday, a really good game. And Marquette lost at the buzzer. And I think they're going to lose again. Ricky P. and St. John's moves on. And then I'm sticking with St. John's to beat UConn in the Big East Championship.
Yeah, that's also going to be a good game. Yeah, I agree. Ricky P's defense this year, St. John's has a really good defense.
Why is that so?
You can't even read that.
All right, that's better. Here we go. All right. So, SEC Conference Championship Tournament. So, here we go. Starts tomorrow. We start off South Carolina, Arkansas. We just kick it right off with John Calipari. And let me say real quick to John Calipari's comments he made earlier this week, where he said, I don't care about the conference tournament. It doesn't matter. The real tournament is the NCAA tournament. Oh, my God. No wonder we just lost every year in the conference tournament.
Yeah, I mean,
my guy's preparing for it like he just doesn't care because he doesn't. So,
yeah.
But I will say, South Carolina's not that good this year. I will take Arkansas. Arkansas's played better as of late. So I would pick Arkansas over South Carolina in this one.
Yeah, I would take Arkansas.
Texas, Vanderbilt in this game. Now, Texas probably has the best player in this game, but I think Vanderbilt is the better all-around team. So I would take Vanderbilt to move on to get to play Texas A&M.
Same.
LSU, Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State runs LSU out of the building. Oklahoma, Georgia. I do think this will be a interesting first round game between these two games, but I would take Oklahoma in this one to beat Georgia.
I'm going Georgia.
Okay. So I would take Oklahoma. So Ole Miss, Arkansas, second round on Thursday. Bless you. Ole Miss, Arkansas. I would take Ole Miss to beat Arkansas in this one because I'm gonna trust that Chris Beard is more prepared in this conference tournament than John Calipari will be.
Of course he is. He don't care.
So
Yeah, I agreed. I agree.
A&M and Vanderbilt again. Talk about players that has that potential to make a run by themselves. Wade Taylor of Texas A&M is one of those guys, and so I'm taking Texas A&M to beat Vanderbilt.
Yep.
To move on. Missouri and Mississippi State. I'm going to go with an upset here. I'm going Mississippi State to upset Missouri.
Yeah, I'm not.
Listen, I don't think people realize, and I know like me and you do, but like this conference is so deep.
Good.
It's so deep that just because you're the 10th best team in this conference doesn't mean you're a very good doesn't mean you're not good. Mississippi State's a very good basketball team.
Oh, yeah.
But so you would take Missouri, I would take Mississippi State. Kentucky, you have Georgia. So who would you pick?
I say Kentucky wins this one.
Okay, and then I have Oklahoma. I would take Kentucky as well against either one to move on. So then that moves to Friday quarterfinals: Auburn, Ole Miss. I'm taking Auburn.
Yeah.
Tennessee and Texas A&M. Give me the Aggies.
Again, Wade Taylor is really good. This game's gonna be really good. I think.
It is.
I think. Give me Texas A&M.
Yeah, Texas A&M again, another team that just has that one. They have that guy, but
gotta have
two,
that
they're
guy.
really
That
good.
Matters in tournaments.
And then also, I mean, when you're matching up the coaching, it's really not that far off from a coaching wise. Florida, you have Missouri, I have Mississippi State. I don't think it matters either way. We're both taking Florida, I would probably say, right? All right, so Florida moves on. Alabama, Kentucky. As much as I really want to pick Kentucky, I think this is where the road ends in the conference tournament wise.
Yeah.
And Alabama moves on.
Alabama just knocked off Auburn.
Yeah.
They just proved that they're up there with top teams in the country.
Yeah. So
yeah, I would pick Bama there as well.
I mean, Alabama was my preseason national championship pick, so
yeah.
I know how good Alabama is. It's again, this conference is just so deep. It's insane to see where these teams ended up ranking wise in the conference versus how good they actually are. Auburn, A&M. This is where the road ends for A&M. I would take Auburn.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Florida, Alabama. I would take Florida in this one to win. Really good game.
This one's another toss-up for me. I'm picking Bama.
So I would understand picking Bama just for coaching wise, because Nate Oates is that guy.
Yeah, no, for sure. He is part of the reason I'm picking that, but picking them. But I tell you what, man, when you jump into the conference championship or conference tournament, and you just knocked off the number 1 seed and the number 1 team in the country at their stadium. And it was an away game. That's so much hype going into a tournament. I think they're going to be ready to play regardless. They want to play Auburn again.
Yes, but that can also be a negative.
I think it's the opposite.
But no, I don't think it's a negative for them just because Nate Oates is always going to have them prepared.
Yeah, I'm picking Bama over Florida.
Okay, so you have Bama Auburn SEC championship game.
Yep.
Who are you picking?
I'm picking Auburn. I don't think they beat them twice.
Yeah, no. Florida Auburn for me again. Florida's already knocked off Auburn once this year.
Yep.
The question is, do they do it again? And as much as I really like this Florida team, I think Auburn is going to want their get back. And I think Auburn wins the SEC.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Auburn's a Final Four team in my opinion. So,
yeah. So, all right. So that ends conference. So we'll have again potentially a live Selection Sunday recording while it's going on. And then obviously next week we'll have a full NCAA tournament breakdown. But now we get into our top 5. So with that being said, Doug, top 5 golf course foods. Now you can just name just your 5 basic ones, or you can name specifics if you want.
I didn't go specifics because I usually get the same things, like depending on whether or not I'm at my favorite golf course or a
Yep.
brand new one. So
We just know you can't get a hot dog anymore.
well, it's on my list. It is on my list. So I did rank them. I went 1 through 5. So I'll start with 5. My 5th one was peanuts. Plain and simple. If they have honey roasted, I'd prefer that. If not, regular's fine. It's a perfect snack. Nothing heavy. Just get you going on to hole 10. Good in between front 9 and back 9.
Something just to get you through until you're gonna go get something to eat afterwards.
Yep.
So, yep.
Go ahead. What's your 5?
Oh, do you
We'll
want?
do it back
Okay,
and
you want
yeah, let's do back and
rapid
forth.
fire back and forth.
Rapid forth.
5 for me was peanuts as well, but also I kind of like did like a mix. I did peanuts / chips.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, so chips / peanuts. You know, again, just something to get you through the back 9. Until you're going to dinner. Again, you get that. It's simple. You know, it's simple while you can eat while driving in the car. If you're driving the car, you can eat it while riding along. Doesn't matter. Simple snack. So chips / peanuts
Simple
was 5
snack
for me.
We should hashtag that. Simple snack. All right, so my number 4, I had it's kind of a
I feel
different
like our
pick.
list is going to be very similar. By the way,
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, we play a lot of golf together,
Yeah.
so early morning tea times. My number 4 is a breakfast sandwich. That is it was up there because nothing slaps more than when you get there for a 8:00 tea time. You get a coffee and you get a breakfast sandwich. Most golf courses will have one. So that's my
and
my
if you
number 4.
don't, golf courses get on it.
Yeah, come on. Get just simple sausage, egg, and cheese.
No,
It's
don't have
easy.
to be. We don't have to be fancy.
No.
It's a good one because actually today and granted we didn't have an 8:00 tea time, but at the golf course I pulled up to today, they were advertising on their board a sausage, egg, and cheese croissant with pepper jack cheese.
See, that sounds great.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
but that did not make my list. Number 4 for me, again, simple snack. Hashtag. I just went candy bar. Just a candy bar. You know, whether
What candy bar? What's your favorite?
so
If they have it.
specific for me, again, it plays it back into number 5 is a payday bar.
Payday.
Yeah, I feel like golf courses, like for me, like everybody, I just put candy bar because everybody's got whatever candy bar they like they can get. But for me, it's a payday because if it's hot outside, I get a Snickers or anything like that. It's just gonna melt sitting there, and I'm not trying to deal with that mess while I'm golfing. You know, payday, it's gonna take, if it does melt a little, it's gonna take a little bit longer for it to melt the peanut butter through.
Paydays will be calling for a sponsor.
Hey,
You
I
know
would
so
love
much
that.
about paydays.
I would love that. But yeah, it kind of plays back into the peanuts with number 5, but again, a little different with the peanuts and the caramel. So I just went candy bar 4 for me. Again, hashtag simple snack.
Hashtag. All right, so my number 3 is a chicken salad sandwich. That is my number 3. It can't have nuts in it. I'm allergic to tree nuts, so I have to ask that. If they don't have any nuts in it, it's one of my go-tos.
I can't wait for people in the comments because they don't know the difference that are going to go, well, you just said peanuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, or someone's going to say, what about chin nuts? Yeah, that's
No.
going to be on there too.
Yeah.
So that's my number 3, chicken salad sandwich.
All right. Number 3 for me, again, hashtag simple snack, peanut butter crackers.
Man, you just went all snacks?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting there.
We're getting there. Okay.
But peanut butter crackers, and if you like the simple peanut butter crackers, you like the orange peanut butter crackers, whichever ones, doesn't matter. Just a peanut butter cracker in general. Again, simple, easy. So peanut butter crackers was number 3 for me.
Sweet. Yeah, that's a good one. Number 2. Here's my number 2. It is a glizzy at the turn. Now, here's my thing, because we just found out over the weekend that I apparently can't eat hot dogs going to hole 10 from the front 9 to the back 9, because apparently I just fall apart on the golf course. And again, in my defense, that hot dog was it's pretty big.
That's
so
crazy.
I don't know what it was or what it is, but our buddy who was with us, Matt, he did ask. He's like, "Do you usually play better or worse when you eat?" And I was like, "I usually play worse."
It got worse.
And it got worse.
He passed it on to his cart buddy.
And it was contagious, and it was our downfall for a 2v1. But it is what it is. They're still a staple. They're really good. Glizzy at the turn.
All right, number 2 for me, which if I know the direction we're going here, it's probably going to be your number 1. But a burger. I know a lot of people, because some people when we're thinking snacks, like a burger's not a snack for people. But and I get it. A burger can be, it's not. Some people also, when they're just eating snacks at the golf course, don't want to eat anything heavy, and a burger can be heavy. But listen, just a cheeseburger with just your simple ketchup, mustard, move on.
Move on.
And if we're going to get specific, if I'm a burger from Pen Run Golf Course here in Louisville, will get you right every time.
Not the greatest course, but them burgers.
It's not the greatest course, but I will go there for a
Burger's
burger. So yeah, burger was number 2 for me.
Yeah, burger's my number one. The pin run one is good, but I think a burger is perfect for like if you're. I think the burger comes into play like 'cause I really like when you go to courses and you can hang out afterwards, like with your buddies, drink a few beers,
Drink your
hang
last
out.
couple beers out of your cooler and
Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Hang out on like on the porch, like they're like a patio area or whatever. And if you're gonna eat some food, I think a burger's a go-to after a golf round. So, and some golf courses have some really good clubhouse food. So normally their burgers are pretty good. So that's my number one.
number 1 for me was it is a glizzy.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah, dude, it's hard to beat a hot dog at the turn.
it is hot dog at
It's
a
hard to
turn.
beat a hot dog at the turn. And again, if we're gonna get specific here, spicy dog from Shawnee Golf Course has got to be the greatest golf snack I've ever had at the turn. So, and again, that's my opinion, and that's just based off where I've been. So let's please keep that in mind. But a spicy dog at Shawnee Golf Course at the turn, perfection. Get you right now. I know a lot of people are thinking a spicy dog at the turn, isn't that gonna cause problems before you finish the 9? Not for me, it didn't. But yeah, even if not, a glizzy at the turn is a to get you going for the back 9.
Speaking of glizzies, there might be a challenge in the future as well involving some hot dogs.
Maybe. Then let's not take that the wrong way, folks.
Yeah, no, that was that. Don't take that the wrong way.
Nope.
That came out odd, but
Yep.
no, it's
Might be a hot dog eating challenge. I don't know
no,
if that
that's
still
no,
came out
that's not
anyway.
any
But
better.
so at a baseball game, let's just say that.
Still not good. All right, we better cut this off for.
Yeah, we'll be editing that out. But that's it. That's our top 5 this week. Again, top 5 golf course food snacks that we've had or that are just in general. So again, potentially going to be doing a live for the Selection Sunday live reactions. It'll probably be going to my Facebook, I believe, for live. So you can go over there. Again, the links to all socials are in the links when we post. So please be sure to go over to there. And then next week's episode will be just committed. The full episode will be committed to just the NCAA tournament. So be ready for that. We're ready for March, ready for great college basketball over the next month. So hope y'all are ready.
One of the greatest months out of the year.
It's the greatest time of the year.
Yep.
So
All right, guys.
that being said, we're out.
Yep. Thanks for listening.